You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Greetings, everybody! It is Thursday night. Time for some Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. We have all 32 flavors of Nick Weiser with us. How you doing, Nick?
Oh, hey, Tom. I've been doing pretty good. How you doing?
Why you sound so...
Maybe
He
because
sounds
I'm
just the same.
finally coming out and letting you know the truth.
He sounds like he normally does.
Ah!
So that, yes, gay.
Bottoms up.
Oh, yes. Bottoms are up indeed.
We also have Mark D with a C joining us, Chief Engineer. How you
Yeah,
doing?
great to be here. Yeah, well, I kind of invited myself on because I got something cool that I made for you. But
Actually,
you're
it's kind of good you're here because we got Avenger news dropping just as we were coming in here. So, yeah.
excellent. Yep, good stuff. Glad to be here.
But you have something to show off, so you're
yeah. You want to do it now, or you want
to?
to?
Well, we'll introduce Brian.
wait,
and then
through the
we'll-
intros,
Then,
yeah,
then we'll
well.
let you do your striptease.
Yeah,
we
let's
got-
let these speak and then let Mark get it up after.
We got Brian, aka that 70s rock fan, hanging in there. How you doing?
I'm doing very well, sir. I didn't think this was going to happen today because of all those X issues, message-wise. But hey,
I almost didn't make it home from the movie because, I went and picked up a puppy.
yeah, I got a
at
new
that.
puppy this week, although it doesn't quite look like Stitch.
Who's a cool star?
Is that Stitch or Lilo? I don't know.
Stitch.
Stitch this, Stitch that, as they would say in Glasgow.
We'll talk about Lilo and Stitch and the Avenger news coming up here, but welcome everybody out there in the chat. Hello. We got Tim Hayes, Kenneth LaRock, Sander Hammerslag, Abe. We got FKHC 2005 in the house, who's also sending in some love for Clobbering Times. Thank you for that. And for the $2, we appreciate that. Always a reminder of Clobby every time we start a show. And we also have, let's see who else is here. We got Daryl Brewer swinging around a wrench action coms here. How do you not have a wrench action com? We got to fix that.
He needs to be privileged.
I know, right? That's so weird. But anyhow, we also have Many Dragons, Shadow Storytellers here. So many more. Hit that like button. Emily Kruger's here as well. Anthem 21X is here. Bryant Barth is in the house. How you doing? Let's see. Vorpal Bunny's Revenge is here as well. Yekno Mino, Das Wolfen. The Tweaky Kids in the house. How you been? We got Deeple 101 here as well. And so many more early comers like Techman Blade. Thank you for being here. Hit that like button. Check out our latest sponsor. It is from our good friend Chris Brawley over at Bleeding Fool. And what the heck is this?
This
We
is
got a
my
puppy.
new puppy. This is our new
Awesome.
puppy. This is
Is that our new mascot?
It's Ivy. She's obviously going to be trained to be a sheepdog. The last one's left on moral grounds, but
You do
we need a
realize
new
that
one.
just because it's a sheepdog, it's not part sheep, right?
Someone has to keep them in line. But yes, Ivy, rescue dog, lovely. She's gorgeous.
Great.
3 months old. That's our
Is she a
new.
Stars fan?
What's
She
her
is
name?
now. She got very excited last night when I was shouting when our 5 third period goals went in a row.
Save some
She
for the
did-
next game.
She did get. Oh, we'll lose the next one 6-0. It's inevitable.
What'd you say her name was?
Ivy.
Ivy.
Ivy. Ivy. Ivy. I do want to get
Oh.
another dog and call it Poison.
Ah.
But
There
yeah,
you go.
You know, the
Well,
Knicks
so-
could have used some of those points last night. 70.
Sadie even had to come up here and see the puppy.
Yeah,
I don't know if
she's
you can see her.
lovely.
You can't see her. She's down here.
And she's pretty well behaved, very settled in very quickly.
Yeah.
So,
But
nice. Yeah,
Mark,
shared that.
you said you had something to show off as well.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah, let me change my mic so I can go
let's-
portable here. So a while ago, you had posted something that you thought was pretty cool, and I'm pretty slow sometimes making these.
Oh
making
Lord,
the-
what did I do?
So let me switch my camera around here. So
We'll make you
hopefully-
big.
yeah, make me big. Yeah, I'm big enough already. But here we go. So I think you might like this. So let's.
What do we got?
let's-
Oh
made that
my
for you.
god! And it actually lights up.
It
You know
lights
what-
up. Yeah.
Holy
leg.
crap!
incredible.
Statue.
Do you know how jealous Nick Weiser is right now?
Well, Nick, I might be able to make one for you too.
You're gonna give him the other leg?
Ah, the other way.
You know what the gayest thing?
statue.
You know what
I
the
want
gayest
it.
thing? The gayest thing in that whole image is, Mark, is the Latino slant sticker.
Yeah, Paulie.
I
sticker
love that
there.
thing though. I remember like
No, that's awesome, dude.
Mark
That
told
looks
me about-
great.
Mark told me about this thing. He's like, "Oh, what do you think, Tom?" I'm like, "Oh, he's gonna love it." And
It looks
lo and
just like the
behold,
toy.
dude. It's crazy.
And
Love
actually, I wasn't gonna paint it. Like I printed it. I'm like, I don't need to paint it. And then I'd screwed up trying to get the cord through. I drilled through the back, and you always have problems the first time you do something. Like, oh, screw it, I'm gonna paint it and do all the accents and stuff. So it did come out looking a lot better once I
Yeah, it looks
airbrushed
really
it,
good, man.
give it some tone there. And then the bottom says NY. I don't know if you can see that, but
Oh yeah. The-
NY, yeah, NY
sewer.
sewer.
So
So,
now I owe you like $50,000.
No, you don't. You don't owe
Incredible.
me anything. I'm glad to do this for friends.
At least I got to pay you for shipping on that.
Oh,
You can
don't
throw in
worry
a Bill
about
and
it.
Ted while you're at it.
Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah, I can throw in a Bill and Ted. Here we go. Yep. But it's going to be very fragile to ship it to you.
Fragile. It means it's Italian.
And that this
Italian.
fruit is
It's expensive.
Well,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
are kind of Italian, right? So
I
I
am,
mean, I
yeah.
guess
Yeah,
that does equate. It's made from it comes from Italy vicariously. So
yeah. No, it does work. Yeah, yeah.
Michelangelo would be jealous.
yeah, the
Oh,
real
what?
Michelangelo would be jealous of that
He
sculpture,
would,
my
he
friend.
would.
It would. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
It's
and
totally
yeah.
bodacious, he'd say.
So this is fun. It's fun to do this kind of stuff, and I mean, I had the parts, and I'm like, I got to finish this. That's the bane of anyone who does this kind of make. It's like you jump onto other stuff, and then you don't you don't finish it. So I'm like, I'm gonna finish this goddamn thing. So that came out good. So I'm gonna print a couple other ones, and if anyone does want one, you can reach out to me through Gmail, or I might put these on Fleabay maybe, because I did commercially buy the model so I could sell them. So if anyone's interested, let me know, or something you want printed. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to do this stuff. Like here's a slime. Here's a Slimer. I just did the Slimer.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it's a fun hobby. But then you start to create a lot of plastic stuff in the house. So you got to ship it out to friends. So
That Slimer looks really good too. Yeah,
yeah, let me get the light on that.
your
one.
paint job is amazing. Look at that.
Thank you. Yeah.
You got all the accents right and all the shadow right. Looks great.
Yeah, I kept doing layers.
And that even looks like the OG Slimer, not the crappy one they keep pushing on us now. It's kind of a weird looking one.
Yeah.
It's like the original Onion Head.
Onion head, right? Yeah. It wasn't
That
supposed
is
to
a
be
nice
a good guy.
Slimer.
The tongue came out. Well, it's kind of tough to see. The tongue.
I
came
can see the tongue.
Yeah, yeah.
You could shove his mouth full of some hot dogs.
Yeah, I should print some hot dogs and throw them
Check
in
him
there.
in
Yeah.
Blade, bro. Reed Richards is for Trump. Does Pedro knows? Oh, dude, my
Uh-oh.
Pedro
Oh, that is.
Pascal would be so
I
mad if
see
he
that.
saw this.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that that's the new
Look at
Pedro figure,
Spider-Man
isn't it?
dancing. He's like, I'm on camera. I'm on camera. I'm on
Yeah,
camera.
he
I'm
can't
on
stop
camera. Look at me.
dancing.
Look at me.
I haven't stopped dancing.
Should
yet.
I put a light, some multicolored light in Reed's arm now, or take that out? I guess. Or...
No, keep that on there. It looks good. Big, beautiful flag.
He looks too white. You need
Poor
to give him the
Reed,
scruffy beard.
Controversial.
Yeah. And the half
Yeah.
of a mustache. Yeah, it's like if you can't grow a real beard,
Whoop.
don't try.
I hit the wrong button there. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mark. I can't
Yep,
believe that.
yep.
I was expecting
so-
a Shrek pooper.
Well, I'm gonna print one of those too. That's an easy.
Yeah, I
one,
didn't need one of those. I just thought it was hilarious, but I figured you'd like it. I'd be like,
Yeah,
Mark's
no.
gonna like this.
That is hysterical.
And the
but,
first thing you say is, well, I do have some green, whatever you call it, the plastic stuff you use there. What is
yeah.
it?
The
rosin or
filament. Yeah, the filament.
filament.
Yeah, the filament. Yep. So that'll be fun to send to you. That'll make
Awesome.
a nice display in your house. Yep.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. You know what's even cooler is I found these USB light bulbs that I can change like colors and shit with on my phone.
Oh, that's
So I'll
cool.
be able
Yeah,
to
so you
put,
could make
like,
it green or
Green. And you know what's
orange.
even better yet is those little frillies you got on there.
Yep.
I have like the miniature Christmas Story leg lamp.
Oh, you have one. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so it should match that with the frillies with the leg, so it'll be perfect with my little leg lamp. They should hopefully be about the same.
About
height.
the same size. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking on. I'm like, where am I going to find the freaking lampshade? Because I found the file online. I'm like, where am I going to find? I actually found it on Amazon, and actually the size worked out pretty good. So I mean, it's not the exact one, but close enough.
No,
right?
it looks great, and I like how you made it look more like the toy because a lot of the other ones I've seen are just look like a leg. Like I like how you have the see that little divot on the inside there on the pad. That's something you only see on the toy.
Oh, that's
for some
only a
reason.
toy. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I know stupid details.
You know way too much than you should about the turtles.
I do.
Right? Yeah.
I do in some ways.
You know the muscles on the legs. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what you guys are talking about out there. Thank you again, Mark, for bringing that on. That's awesome. Go one for
You're
one. No sends in 20 Mexican dollars. So that might be able to. I might be able to get a soda with that, guys. A Mexican soda. I got a Mexican Coke.
Ooh.
I'll buy a Mexican Coke.
Those
So
are the
can't
best.
wait. Yeah, I know, right? Can't wait for the Stitch cinematic universe. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that if there's a plausibility for that or not in just a little bit. Soul Nightmare says Supergirl just got a lot of breathing room since Spider-Man is supposed to be after Doomsday inside the and still hasn't got the script for the main cast. I have a feeling I wonder if Spider-Man's going to be in between. I thought it was originally supposed to be in between anyway. I could be wrong, but you're probably more right on that, Soul Nightmare. Inside the you went and corrected yourself inside the main MCU timeline. All right, well, yeah, so we'll have to find out how that works, and that kind of segues nicely into our top story of the day, because as we were getting things ready for the show and dealing with X's BS, this news dropped a little bit ago. Doomsday has been delayed. Marvel pushes Doomsday and Secret Wars to December 2026 and 2027. Now, this is like over a half a year move for Doomsday, and I believe same kind of thing for Secret Wars. So let's see what the story says, and then we'll get your guys' reaction to this. Avengers will need a few more months to assemble. No surprise there. I think everybody and their mother has been predicting this was going to happen.
My
But
mother never said anything about it.
your mother did too. She called me and told
And
me.
she should know. Your mother should know.
Your mother should know.
If your mother my mother called you, I'd be surprised because the
Yeah,
poor
it's from
lady
the other
is-
side.
No, she's around. It's just
Oh, okay, good. Well, I was gonna say, I would say that's what sucks is when you make jokes like that and you're like, my
she
mother
doesn't remember things very well now.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe she remembers more than you know.
You never know.
Doomsday is now set to debut December 18th, 2026, moving about 7 months off from its original slated date of May 1st, 2026 to match the follow-up Avengers Secret Wars, and that is moving to a release date of December 2027 after previous release date of May 7th, 2027. Now, initially, when is that Mando movie coming out? Is that still coming out this Christmas time, or is that pushed back until next year?
Oh, good question. The one that's
I was gonna
called
say, I
Mando
think this is.
Grogu?
Yeah,
Let me
look
find
here.
out.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
Sweet. All right. So yeah, pending that, because I was curious. I think because I knew that was going to be a problem running into that. Disney announced both Avenger delays Thursday afternoon, alongside sweeping reorganization of its upcoming theatrical slate. Oh, so there's more news than that. Notably, the new calendar saw the studio remove several unnamed Marvel titles off its calendar. The date of February 13th, 2026, previously slotted for untitled Marvel project, has now been removed from the schedule. Meanwhile, the dates of November 6th, 2026 and November 5th, 2027, also both previously set for untitled Marvel features, have been amended to simply untitled Disney films. See, I think Spider-Man's going to be one of those dates. But anyway, what do you got, Nick?
May 2026, it's looking to be for Mando and Grogu.
Aha! See, and that's one of the reasons why I knew that they were going to probably move this anyway. That's what I was thinking. I thought I remember hearing. That's what I thought. So yeah, that makes sense. Here we go. Here's Spider-Man. It's addressing it right here. With these changes, Avengers Doomsday and Sony's Spider-Man Brand New Day are now the only Marvel Cinematic Universe entries slated hit theaters in 2026. Also of note, the only pre-holiday December frame for both Avengers installments is the same one that Spider-Man No Way Home launched in 2021. Additionally, there's no theatrical Marvel feature slated to release between the Fantastic Four First Steps on July 25th and the fourth Tom Holland Spider-Man installment on July 31st, 2026. More than a year later, it'll be MCU's biggest gap between feature films since the COVID. Oh, wow. So it still sounds like, as of right now, Spider-Man's still on schedule.
Pace. So what's interesting is there's a lot of people who are theorizing about that Brand New Way would kind of be like the move that would bridge the gap between Doomsday and Secret Wars, but that looks like that's no longer going to be the case since this movie's got it was be 5 years ahead of that one's time. I'm sorry, not 5 years, 5 months. Sorry. I'm sure you all understood what I meant, though.
Yeah, so what's everybody's reaction to this? Let's start with Nick and we'll go down the line.
Not surprised. Definitely changes, as I mentioned, about the theory about Brand New Day and where that takes place in the timeline. It's clear that that movie's going to take place first. It'd be very weird. It'd be like if they decided we're going to push back Infinity War and we're going to keep Ant-Man and the Wasp first. So you're all going to be confused by that scene where a lot of the characters got dusted, even though Infinity War hadn't come out yet. People are like, hey, why did all these characters get dusted? And all of a sudden Infinity War comes out second. Oh, that's why so-and-so got dusted. So gonna be curious to see how they work around that. But to be fair, Spider-Man has been talks for years, obviously under lots of negotiation. I have a feeling whether a movie is good or not, it'll probably look and feel more of like a complete movie, good or bad or not, is irrelevant, than whatever this Doomsday is, because it's clear that they do not know what they're doing this movie, and it shows.
There's also an awful lot to fit in here because they're going to fit in Fantastic Four, X-Men, everybody and their cousin's going to be in this Doomsday. So possibly a little difficult to write that one.
I think there's a misunderstanding. I know Ant-Man and the Wasp came out after Infinity War. I said this movie being under the theory that would take place would be like taking out Ant-Man and the Wasp and putting it before Infinity War. So I apologize if there's anyone who misunderstood that, but just clarifying that statement. I am aware. But yes, let's have Mark have a say, because
so
legs need to shine.
The crazy thing is, Doom should be introduced with the Fantastic Four. What the heck are they doing with this Avengers Doomsday? Should be Fantastic Four Doomsday. It's ridiculous. And I don't know if this is Robert Downey Jr., of course, we love his Iron Man. Phenomenal. Is he going to be the actual Doctor Doom, or is he, an alternative version of Doctor Doom? So, yeah, it just doesn't seem like they have a good plan. So
branding, dear boy, branding.
Yeah, and Secret Wars that's when you should use Secret Wars. If when you read that original comic, it's kind of like a battle royale of wrestling, with the Beyonder pulls everyone to this crazy world. That's where Spider-Man gets his black costume. So that would be a great movie to do that. And then you could pull in the X-Men from another universe, and then when they leave, they could end up in our 616 universe.
So you would think that Secret Wars would be the one where they would introduce all these characters, not Doomsday, and Doctor Doom should be have his origin with the Fantastic Four. So they're really missing out on a great opportunity. Just follow the damn comics. I mean, and follow the old good comics that people bought, not the new stuff
Well,
that no one cares about.
Considering the Fantastic Four show up out of nowhere unannounced in the new Avengers or Thunderbolts, we don't necessarily know when any of these
Right?
movies take place. Spider-Man could still take place in between. That was the thing I kept hearing, and I don't know if this is true or not, is that he's not even going to come in until the second Avengers film.
Yeah, they made that very clear that he was going to come in for that second movie, and the way it was worded, that's what gave off that theory that something must happen that ties the movies in between. Kind of like the way when Ant-Man the
Or
Wasp,
it has
you
very
had
little to
seen-
nothing to do with them. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you had that scene where you saw people close to Ant-Man get dusted, and he was all confused. And obviously, the rest of that movie wasn't really connected. But as far as that last scene, it was obvious what made his connection to it all relevant with the quantum realm and all. Now, this movie coming out before, it definitely makes you think, how are they going to tie that, assuming that they even were to begin with.
We know any of the plot details of Avengers Doomsday?
Very little.
Not a lot.
It looks like they're
I don't even
taking
think
from the-
they know the plot at this
They
point. yet.
don't know. This is what I'm saying. There's so many people are going to be in this.
Yeah, they're just sitting there
It's
going,
gonna
God,
be
what are we doing?
Very
Like-
difficult to write this. Other than the only thing we really know is that Sue Storm will be the leader of the Avengers.
And Pass
That's bad,
Hole is
yeah.
supposed to be the lead actor of this movie, which is very concerning. Very concerning. I look at them like, that's gonna be the guy who carries this ensemble cast. That dude. And I'll admit, on his best day, he can do some pretty good performance, but he is not a major leading man the way Robert Downey Jr. was as Iron Man or Chris Evans as Captain America. He is not
Who, Pascal?
leading man material. Pass Hole, yeah.
I don't think he's going
he's
to
a
be
he's a
that.
he's a good support actor. I mean, I enjoy his performance. Ass client as he is, and what's that movie? The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. But he's a really strong at best support
Is he
actor with good
really
work.
going to be the lead? Because I've
Yes,
got a
he is.
feeling Sue
Then
Storm
they have-
will be the lead.
They have made it very clear that Pass Hole is going to be the
Mm.
main character of Doomsday, and that is horrifying.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah, even if that's what they say, that's still scary that they even entertaining that.
So, like, what I want to know is, can you help me figure out with these new timelines? Where does the Kang Dynasty movie fit in all this?
Oh, they want you to pretend that that's no longer. It
Where
was
does
supposed
that
to come
fit?
out 3 weeks ago.
I'm trying to figure out where that fits in all this new timeline.
Well,
It's in the same place that Highlander 2 is. That's all I know.
Yeah, that's true because neither movie exists
Right?
or ever
Yeah.
will exist or ever.
There's
has
no
existed.
Highlander 2.
There
Yeah.
is no Highlander 2.
No, there's no Highlander 2. I don't know what you guys are talking about, posers. Weird. Don't do that.
Yeah. Well,
This
I
movie's
just
probably
think
going to
it's-
be a very fragmented version of the 2015 Secret Wars story, which was this Doom World, Battle World thing where
Yeah.
there's these little sections of scattered timelines. It was the multiverse on roids, which is saying a lot considering how much multiverse we've gotten in the last several years, not just in books, but even in movies. If you guys thought like the multiverse hasn't given you a headache or exhausted you or made your brain go crazy enough, wait till you see this story on screen, assuming that that's what they're going for. Because I'm almost like HIV positive that's what they're going for. And you guys' brains are gonna hurt from following all this stuff. And it's gonna be even messier for those of people who might come to see this movie, knowing that they haven't seen half the phase 4 and 5 movies like Soy Chi or Eternals.
Soichi's in this one as well.
Or
Soichi's in this.
Captain America Great Reset. Like it's already bad. You're gonna make the confusion so much greater. I don't see how this movie is gonna be new viewer friendly.
It's going to be there's a lot of people going to be in this. A lot of different groups from different Marvel sub-franchises.
Mhm.
I think they are having trouble figuring this one out.
Well, I don't think it's the directors. I think whoever they got writing this story is
Yeah.
going to have the problem because the Russos, they come from a place where ensemble cast is their specialty. So I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
this
for
one's got a
them
lot.
it's going to be an issue. But as far as the personnel that they got involved writing, I think that's where it's going to be a much, much bigger issue.
Does anyone care about these characters anymore? I think you're seeing that with, Thunderbolts. If it had been out, when the MCU was at full steam, I think it would have been $1 billion movie. Of course, most movies would have, but
Well, during
I
full
think
steam,
there's
we didn't have all these shitty characters, too, Mark.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And
yeah.
how big
So
a
like
role-
Captain America's gone, Iron Man's gone. So your two biggest characters you killed off or let age out, which was
unless they pull a fast one and have Robert Downey Jr. as some kind of Iron Man in it, as well as Doctor
You
Doom.
know that will be there. They'll have probably
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
evil
Oh,
version
yeah.
of
not
Iron
really
Man
Doom.
in there. Yeah, they'll have
And-
some evil version of Iron Man the same way they will have Hydra Cap. Even if it's not like a big role, they'll probably have it be like some Earth 977 evil Cap and evil Iron Man. Iron Man's a dictator and Captain America's the one who basically militarizes it. Some shit like that.
And it does have the well, I say original X-Men, does it not? Say
It's supposed to
original.
have a lot of them.
Back then it
Kelsey
did, but-
Grammer's back. Famke Jansen's back. I think Patrick Stewart's back to die again
Rebecca
for a
Romijn
sixth
and
time.
James Marsden's in it.
Yeah, James Marsden's in it. Alan Cummings, who is Nightcrawler.
Coming out.
Yeah,
I
they
think
got
it's
they got a
both
lot of them
Patrick
back.
Stewart
for it.
and Ian McKellen are both in it.
Jeez, how many
One of
times
the-
do you think Xavier's gonna die in these two movies?
30.
As,
Yeah.
as many as it takes, Mike. As many times
12.
as it
They got,
takes.
well, like I said, he's already died more times than Uncle Ben. And then I'll sit there and debate over Days of Future Past because everybody's like, well, yeah, but he doesn't die. He's like, yes, he does, but does he really? No, I don't know. I was like, he still gets killed. It's an excuse to kill him. Yeah, he dies with the rest of them.
Hey, with
And-
the multiverse, it
and then,
doesn't matter.
you know what's-
You do what you want.
And like
Okay.
some of my favorite Iron Man stories, in Iron Man 250, when Doom and Iron Man they travel to Camelot, like you could do like fun, great movies like that, But now that Tony Stark is dead in the MCU, but those are some of the best comics. We had Doom and Iron Man together, and everyone always remembers. It's always picked
Well-
out as and that's the sequel to the Iron Man 150. The anniversary issue with Doom and Iron Man together too. So they're morons. I mean, just like you've got all these great comics. I said before, follow them. You've got some of these all-time great stories that everyone loves. They're written for you. You just need to follow that. Instead, they've got to come up with Riri Williams. It's like, who cares about Riri
I bet you
Williams?
this, Mark, this is probably gonna be a lesser version of Infinity War and Endgame, the same way Born Again is ultimately a lesser version of Daredevil Netflix. You'll probably see moments because they have, a cast where there's some talent. You're gonna probably see moments of greatness like in the cracks, but overall, it's gonna be bogged down by atrocious writing.
Well, the thing about the previous Avengers movies is that the build-up was there. With each successive character.
Oh
each
yeah,
successive
the
movie, build-
investment was huge.
The investment, I don't think, is here anymore because, who's been watching these movies that lead to this? Thunderbolts, Shang-Chi, all these movies that are all going to have some kind of bearing on this, or at least characters in there from them. Isn't the same investment, not the same number of bums on seats watching those.
Nope.
So,
There's
so
not.
that
Yeah.
you don't have that anticipatory build-up. What you've got is a bunch of member berries and some characters they're trying to push now. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like a bit unfocused, perhaps, because of
Oh.
what they've been doing the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is unfocused. There was no plan. Even
be
with the
great,
Kang
who
stuff,
knows?
they were barely figuring out as they went along. You can tell there was no clear
Plan,
blueprint.
yeah.
There, everything. It was clear that they really were all in on wanting to honker down on the message and race swap, gender swap versions of characters. Once phase 3 is on, it was like they were just so anxious for when those phase 3 phases were done so they could get rushed into this. And you could tell there was a long-term plan with that. Ever since Phase 4, the announcement of the Phase 4 movies, you can tell there was nothing there besides what they announced. This was an on-the-fly type of thing versus unlike the planned out blueprint that went into Phase 1, 2, and 3.
Then. Yeah, it's difficult to get the hype for that then. No, it could turn out to be great. I mean, it's got the Russos and McFeely, Stephen McFeely. It could be good.
Who's writing, though?
Stephen McFeely, but it's also got the writer whose name I can't remember from Loki.
Oh, that's not going to help.
Doctor Strange in the multiverse.
Oh, this movie is fucked in the ass already.
You know what else this opens against? Dune 3.
Oh, well, that'll be...
Dune 3
That's going to be huge.
Dune 3 may well be... I think this will do well. But...
I think you'll have a decent opening weekend. It won't be like Infinity War opening weekend, or obviously not Endgame, not even close. It'll probably have like somewhere between, I'd say maybe around 150 mil, and now because you'll have a lot of people who will still be nostalgic for the Fox Men to come back.
Well,
you'll have that.
I would like.
You'll have that nostalgia, but then after that, it'll fall flat on its ass, face first, second weekend, like the last several movies I've done.
Yeah, the Fox X-Men stuff is the stuff I would be interested in.
But you said you had to take off, so yeah, I was going to say, now that you have the floor, you might as well take your leave.
I do have to take off, Hoser?
Yeah.
Hey.
So yeah, it's been real. I will probably be, as usual, on Thursday Night Throwdown on Comics Division's channel later tonight. I expect Nick will be there too, probably.
Yeah,
so see you guys over there. And just a very brief plug for my show next Monday on my channel. We're going to be talking about Rush.
Year 76.
We're talking, 76, 77, 2112, All the World's a Stage, Farewell to Kings. So that's the era we'll be talking about. Anyone into
Great
Rush
stuff.
and progressive metal and progressive rock, that'll be your show. Have a great night, everybody.
See ya, Tom Soy.
Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
All right. With that, let's see what you guys are saying out in the chat. We got this one already. We got Soul Nightmare saying Supergirl just got a lot. Oh, we got that one too. We got that one, and I think this is the only new one then. Jason Webster sends 5 Australian and says, Disney, when it's slowly killing beloved IPs, it's killing careers. Well, I'm not so sure which career it killed this time. But I know one thing. I just saw the latest Disney film in theaters. So I don't know if you guys are curious what I thought about it or not.
Might as well sound off.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it tomorrow with my kids.
This movie's going to make $1 billion easy.
Oh, God,
Easy.
yeah. Dude, when I was at my theater picking up the Stitch bucket, the amount of kids and parents coming in as I was just, I was just picking stuff up, and the amount of kids and parents I saw at freaking 3 o'clock was insane. I think this movie's going to do 100.
I went to the 3D showing, and there was a few people there. Not as many as I thought there would be, but yeah, you're right. The other showings were already filling up. So, and this is the middle of the day, and a nice day in the Wisconsin
Thursday
Dells.
afternoon.
Yeah,
work day still, and it was jammed. I'm in a super suburb of Illinois, and it's jammed. So it's gonna. I already saw the kids and the parents coming in like crazy for it. It's gonna do at least 150 3-day weekend, and maybe 160 170 4-day opening weekend.
And they still have 3D movies? You saw in 3D, Tom?
I did.
I didn't think they still did it in 3D.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the 7 o'clock show in Madison at one of the theaters, just one of the theaters, and it's pretty well filling up already. Let's see what the standard showing, how that's looking.
Well, yeah, with the holiday weekend, yeah.
That one's almost full too. Yeah,
and this is one of those. And I don't like these live actions usually, but this kind of does make sense if you're going to do a live action with the the main character Stitch being 3D animated and CGI, an alien. That I can kind of see it. And Tom, how closely did they follow the movie? I mean, I've heard How You Train Your Dragon is basically like word for word or shot for shot.
I mean, it's kind of strange. It's hard to explain. It's very close, but they do change some things, and there's some characters that aren't even here. Like the shark character, I forgot his name, the bad guy.
Oh yeah,
he's
the
not
big
even in it.
dude who's like
Yeah,
10 feet
he's
tall.
not even in it. Not even in it at all.
Okay.
Which is fine. You don't need him. It would be too much. You got so much going on already. This movie clicks along, and what it does is it takes the original story, makes it a little more grounded, gives Nanya, or however you say your name, the older sister, gives her a lot more
material to work with.
It doesn't make her the central character, but it does give her the emotional anchor of, the adult, from the adult view, I guess. But this kid playing Lilo, she is adorable. She steals the whole fucking show. She's hilarious. She's got charisma out the ass, and she knows how to pretend and act with a character that's not even there. Right? And those two steal the whole show. I mean, if you've seen the clips, that's the movie, right? The few things they change are just minor here and there, little bits and pieces. Like even some things work better, some things I wasn't as happy about. At the end of the day, I guess I would say the original film is better, but I consider the original film like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
so this is still
really good. Me and my youngest, we watched it last night so I could get a memory refresher, and she's watched this, the direct-to-video sequels, and the TV show. She's watched all that stuff like religiously. So this is for her viewing number 900, and we're just getting in the mode. And I'm just like, the animation still holds up. Obviously, Chris Sanders as Stitch is still amazing. And yeah, and the movie, you don't think about it at the time, but you're like, wow, this movie really does move fast. Everything's just go, 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 go. Even in the deep Disney story.
And they don't really add too much like extra bullshit or anything like that to it. I mean, like I said, even though the movie's nearly like 20 minutes longer than the original.
They didn't Snow White the movie, basically.
No. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I guess one thing I could say that they change is like, okay, so they add a new character in Miss Kiko, which is Tia Carrere's character, who did the voice of Nani in the original film. And she kind of replaces Cobra Bubbles, but Cobra comes in. But he's a little bit different character. See, in this version, he actually works for the government as a CIA alien guy. And so what he does is come in undercover in the as soon as he knows Stitch is around, he figures out, they're under investigation from protective services. So then he slides into protective services, and the scene there where Stitch and Lilo are figuring out that something's not right with Cobras. It's almost better in the new version than it was in the original, because it's kind of just nonchalant in the original. But this one, it makes more sense because he isn't really a social worker. So there's that. And then one of the things I didn't like as much, but I understand, was like Pleakley and Jumba. They make them human through most of the movie by they put on like, basically
for disguises, right?
DNA disguises,
hologram
DNA disguises, yeah. And Zach Galifianakis is Jumba, and he's good, but I wish he'd have done more with his voice, because he's just Zach Galifianakis.
He's got an interesting voice to begin with, though.
But at first I'm just kind of like, I couldn't even place who it was until he became human.
Okay.
I didn't even realize it was him until he became human, and I'm like, oh, it's Zach Galifianakis. I'm like, I kind of knew the voice, but I was trying to place it. And then the guy they got playing Pleakley takes the gayness a little too far, but they don't imply that he's gay, like in any sexual way. He's just very flamey.
Okay.
And the way he dresses and stuff, but you could also chalk that up to just
you saw him kind of a joke. He had questionable looks in the original movie.
Yeah,
as his harmless dressing up.
It's also like kind of they gave him a little bit more to do with, not only is he like basically the same as he is in the original, but he's like the huge Earth expert. Like he studies everything, the clothing, the culture, and of course he gets everything wrong, right? So like his dressing like that could also be just chalked up to he doesn't understand how he's supposed to dress, right? So
yeah,
it could be, you could chalk it up either way. Either he's dressing very gay, or he's dressing just because that he doesn't know how to dress.
Well, like Liberace. Oh wait, bad example.
Yeah, but not as much style. not by far. Yeah.
One is
and then
Tom H is saying in the chat. I kind of agree with that, Tom H. Yeah, I hate when you recognize the voice. I don't like a lot of celebrity voice actors in the animated stuff.
no, but what I liked
kinda
was
pulls
David
me out
Ogden
sometimes.
Stiers in the original. He actually put on like a Russian-esque accent kind of thing. Yes, I can
Yes,
tell
but
it's
he
David
changes it.
Ogden Stiers, but he's doing the
Yeah, yeah.
with his voice, he's doing
It's a
something
different
with it. Like,
character. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and even the Pleakley guy, it almost got annoying on the other end because he's doing this one too much in the movie to make himself sound like the alien probably would sound because of his mouth or whatever. Because the original guy was one of the kids in the hall guys, and I thought he did a better job as Pleakley, but that's just me. And, and seeing Jason Scott Lee as in a cameo was nice, and they add a new character to David's family, which would be like his aunt or his grandma. They never really say specifically, or at least I didn't catch it. But he stays with this lady they both live next door to Lilo and Stitch. She's given a bunch of stuff to kind of do, and she takes over even some of Nani's role in the movie in certain aspects. She's the one who actually takes Lilo to the pound where she gets Stitch, as opposed and it makes more sense because it's like, why the fuck would Nani want a dog now when she's dealing with all this shit? So like the movie does address some questions as that they just kind of gloss over in the animated film. But then there was a couple things here and there. I was like, I kind of wish they would have carried it over. I would have done it. Wish they would have done it the same way as the original movie. But outside of that, no, it's like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 compared to the 10 out of 10 that the original film is. It's not as good as the original. Kids are gonna fucking love it. They're gonna be laughing nonstop, giggling, laughing. I mean, the whole shtick between Lilo and Stitch throughout the film works so well for the movie because those two are constantly cranking it up to 11 with the whole thing, working off of each other. And however they got this kid to act and did it in a way that it's believable, I give him so much credit. Because even Stitch looks great because clearly you knew they planned it, unlike a Marvel movie. So there wasn't a bunch of redo on the special effects. So yeah, does Stitch look animated? Of course, he looks just like he does in the old animated movie. That's what people are going to expect. The only difference is he just looks more realistic. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He's got fur. That's it. Or you can see the fur. Like the fur follicles or whatever you want to call it. Not the follicles, but the actual hairs.
Yeah, we get what you're saying. Yeah,
like Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, when they originally screwed his design up and they fixed it.
But even closer than that, even because this is like a 1-to-1. The only difference is you just get the actual fur that you can see instead of it just being a cartoon. Like, I mean, this drink thing looks more like the old cartoon than it does in the movie.
It does look a lot more like the cartoon.
It's flocked, you said.
It is flocked, yes.
Yep.
But no, I thought they did a pretty good job. They didn't deviate too far. They didn't, like I said, they left a few things out and switched a few things up here and there. But
there's no message in it.
if I would change, and no, not really outside of the message that's in the original film. Yeah. And I mean, they do make some changes near the end that make a little bit more sense and stuff like that. But overall, no, I thought it was pretty good.
That's good to hear. Yeah. This is going to help cover some of the recent losses they've had from Snow White and I guess. Well, did Thunderbolts break even now? I guess or
no, it still needs to hit around 560 to break even. I think it's just around like 330, 340.
Not the big hit they were hoping for. Yeah. And Snow White, they were hoping that would be a massive hit too. I mean,
that was even huge.
I think they knew the train wreck that was coming. So they need a movie like this to get their numbers back up. And it's good to hear that they didn't radically try to change it or muck around with it, or maybe they can get that message over to the comic book guys, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, they build upon some of the things. Sometimes it hits it a little too on the nose, but of course the original film does too because it's a kids movie, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they actually kind of take it a bit farther, the theme in the movie, because they even, like I said, they give more for Nani to do. I know Mecha J says they made her more unlikable. I disagree. I think they just made her more real and grounded. Right? She's struggling. She's doing the best she can, but she's clearly young, inexperienced at this. This was obviously thrusted upon her. The movie set up because the original movie, you don't have really, they don't give you a sense of time of how long their parents have been gone. And I mean, even in the original film, and you're going through, you're like, boy, this social worker is really jerky for that going after her. She's not that bad. I've seen a lot worse. you know, at least in this movie, they make it more believable, and they make you realize the shit that she sacrificed on after their parents had died, and it makes it feel like it's more fresh and more in the rear view mirror still, and not so far as it, because in the original film, Nick knows probably what I'm talking about, because it kind of makes it feel like they've been gone for years in the original film, though it can't be that long.
It's not made clear how long it is, which is fine for me. That's not a big deal. It's not an essential detail. I need to know the exact years. Like, maybe if something essential happens at that time that would require the year, sure, but
this is like literally months in the movie.
It just seems like if I had to guess, maybe a year or two, maybe. If I had to take an education.
The only thing that I can't believe it's that long is because when you look at the family picture, Lilo looks the same age she does now in the movie.
And maybe,
like in this movie,
maybe it's shorter. It could be shorter for all I know.
Yeah, I don't know. And in this movie, they make it feel like it's got to be somewhere between 2 to 4 months that it happened.
And
right?
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I just looked at it wrong the entire.
Because even the social worker says, "I know you just lost your parents, and this is tough. And you're doing the best you can."
Okay.
And Lilo is still obsessed with it. And that is a part of the original film, but it's deeper here, right? Like she's clearly not, this is her acting out is her trying to deal with the fact that she lost her parents, right? They don't really address that as the exact reason in the original film, but like that's clear here. Like they get more deeper, not like nose deep into it, but like it just makes it feel a little more grounded and realistic of what they're dealing with in the situation. And I mean, you might get a little bit more feels from the kids and the adults. I mean, shit, they're really good though at tugging at the heartstrings in this movie. Because even though I know how this fucking movie's gonna go word for word, they even had me at the end going, "Jesus Christ, Stitch is gonna die." You know, like,
yeah, you forget, right? Yeah,
you know, like it's like, damn, you know, like they. Because the scene where he's like, you know, it's almost the same as it is in the original movie. So like, you know, you kind of like, oh man, you know, like, because you know his little sacrifice moment kind of thing, and yeah, and I don't know, Mission Impossible. I didn't hear anybody saying, "Give me a ticket for Mission Impossible" when I was at the theater. Not one.
Oh wow! So because that's open. That opens today too, right?
That opens today proper. Whereas Lilo and Stitch basically is today, but for some reason they're still calling it Thursday.
And Nick was supposed to go see it, but he had to deal with some.
I had a bunch of stuff I had to deal with, so nothing terrible, by the way, chat.
Speaking of animal rescue,
and I had an animal rescue to deal with, and that was crazy, and everything is solved for now, but. Yeah, I'm fortunate I gotta wait a few days to see MI, and I'm seeing Lilo and Stitch tomorrow with my children, which obviously my youngest is going nuts that she has a Stitch bucket. She already can't wait to put her slushie in it.
Oh yeah, this movie is gonna make bank. The kids are gonna love it. They're gonna see it 20 times. They're gonna be laughing from beginning to end. There, as far as I know, there's no after credit scene. There's just a few things in the beginning of the credits. Then the credits actually start proper, and you get the hell out of there. You know?
How would you compare it to Minecraft movie? I mean, just in terms of kids enjoying it.
But I mean, I don't think the kids are going to be as rowdy. I think they're going to be very entertained by Stitch. Because they crank him up to 11 in this movie. I mean, he's funny and adorable in the original film, but like I said, they got him doing business constantly and Lilo as well, like in the background, even in, you know, scenes and stuff like that, where if you're not paying attention, you might miss something. Because they're just constantly on the move. And I mean, he is just exactly what he's supposed to be, a moving ball of destruction, like throughout the film until he finally slows down. And I mean, it works really well how they paced it out. Again, I might not have gone to the extent of making it that much longer than the original, but after seeing it as
only an hour and 25.
Yeah, after seeing it as it is, it's like you kind of understand why it is. And even with missing some of the characters and the addition of the changes and whatnot, it works. It's not too far from the original. You understand why they did what they did. I think it's going to do fine. The kids are going to love it. Not one kid is going to complain about the movie, I don't think.
I think for some of the characters, they're probably holding off so they can get a sequel and they can use those characters for that. Whereas Lilo
I don't know if there'll be a sequel or not.
Yeah, okay.
Because I did mention I was going to say this. Now, this is minor spoilery. Because they do mention that Glitch has a Stitch, right? Jumbo says that. But it addresses it in the film. He thinks the Stitch is that he needs to take Stitch's ability to love and have emotions away. Because Jumbo actually kind of takes more of the villain role in this movie since they don't have the shark guy. he doesn't get the spoilers. He doesn't get the redemption he does in the original film. So keep that in mind. That's the one major change, I guess, to a character. I mean, it's not like overtly changed, but it's enough to where it's like, okay, so he's not going to get his little redemption arc like he did in the original film, because his whole thing is he wants to make Stitch into this fucking weapon and take over, right? Like, from the very start, that's his whole plan. So he's going to change him into Experiment 627. So they don't address that there's been a bunch of experiments. They're just kind of making it out like Stitch has always just been experimented upon. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not so sure they left it open for sequels, although they probably will try to once they see the returns on this.
Yeah, as Arthur was saying, yeah, Disney will make a sequel to any successful film. They can't help themselves. Yeah, I mean, they'll if this makes $1 billion, I think you guys are all probably right.
Right. Like I said,
they'll figure out a sequel.
Because when he first says it, I'm like, oh God, they're setting up a sequel. And then when you realize where the plot's going, you're like, oh, well, maybe not. I mean, not that you couldn't have a sequel, but I don't know if it'll go exactly the same route as the TV show, where the whole thing is them finding the other 625 experiments. Like I said, this movie kind of sets it more up, the understanding of Stitch just keeps getting experimented upon
620 plus times or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Now he's going to mutate him again this last time to perfection. Yeah.
But any of these kids movies too. I mean, if you got a good kids movie, that's guaranteed box office if you do a good job. That's why Snow White was such a colossal screw up. Because if you look at the typical box office, these animated movies or Minecraft movies, it's parents were looking for something to entertain their kids. So I know when my kids were little, they're all out of college now. Hard for me to believe, but we'd always look for fun movie to see. Like, I remember my daughter's first movie was the Powerpuff Girls, and thank God they didn't make that crappy remake. But the screen comes up the first time, she's like, "Daddy, this is really big!" Like, and her eyes lit up. Never been to a movie theater before. You can imagine with a kid, And
this is gonna blow some kids' minds if it's their first movie, especially if they've seen the original a million times.
Dude, you kidding me? I remember when I brought Arya to her first movie. We went to go see the Jungle Book live version. I brought her to it. This is before the stigma of everything gets a live version was kicking in. I thought, okay, as a youngling, she was really into animals. This made sense. And I remember I purposely didn't tell her, like, hey, this place is huge, it's loud. And I remember I covered her eyes, bringing her in. She was about a few months away from being 2. And we sat in our seats and opened her eyes. And she's like, why is the TV so huge? I was like, this is what TV is. I thought that was the funniest thing that she could say is, why is the TV so huge?
My kid's first movie in the theater was Garfield, I believe. Was it Chipmunks or Garfield? Chipmunks or Garfield, whichever one came out first. I think it was Garfield. Yeah. Tekkaman Blade says, but it won't work as well if Jumba is a bad guy in a sequel. Not necessarily. I kind of see where the sequel would probably go. What they'd probably have happen is Jumba will escape, and he'll still want to come after and get Stitch and make him into 627. And I don't see how that wouldn't work necessarily, but why not? And then I see somebody else said something about, so it's like Rocket Raccoon. Not exactly. They don't make it out like it's a major thing, like he's hurt by it or anything like that.
Not being tortured, I guess.
No, it's just the next level or whatever. He's cranked him up all these times or whatever, basically. They never really say specifically. But otherwise, it's almost verbatim, the original film, line for line. They just add little bits here and there. And like I said, ground some of the scenes a little bit more. Other than that, it's pretty much the same thing. Blade Nicotero sends in 5 and says, the theater I went to were at Final Reckoning was better than the last one. Most kids here getting back from school at 3 p.m. though. Yeah, that's the other thing. Depends on if kids are out. I know some areas are already out. I was bringing it up because the town that I went to see it in is a huge vacation town. And if it's nice out, nobody's going to go see a movie. It's attached to like this hotel. It's an AMC. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I usually go to it in the summertime, especially because it's a bitch to get there traffic wise. But once you get there, nobody's there.
Today it was crowded.
I wouldn't say it was crowded, but I was surprised how many people were there for a Thursday afternoon at 2:30 in the afternoon in Wisconsin.
And it was sunny out.
and it was
Yeah.
sunny out, and 60 degrees. So like,
Yeah, like here today, it's raining. It's like 55 degrees, 50 degrees. It's freezing.
exactly.
Like,
Had it been
perfect
yesterday
day
when
to
it was
see a movie.
raining, then it'd been a different story. Then I would have been, oh God, everybody's going to be there. I should have got here early. Yeah. Because they don't even have reserved seating at this theater yet. Like, it's
No
like-
reserved seating?
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
the
it's come
horror,
first
the
come,
horror.
first serve.
Oh, I can't go to a
love
movie
this
theater
like
without
that.
reverse seating.
Oh, I love that. I miss that shit.
And it's
so
how I
much.
You
managed
missed
not
that?
to
Why would
spend
you miss that?
$100 to go
Why
see
would
the
I
movie
miss
and get
that?
the
I'll
bucket.
tell you why, Mark. Because if you
Why?
want a good seat, you went out there and you fucking earned it.
Well, no, I went on the interwebs much earlier. I mean, you're talking to a guy who would wait like 8 hours in line to be,
Yes.
first online for Star Trek. So,
Okay,
but
fine.
right.
Well, that son of a bitch earned it.
yeah,
That
and
son
don't
of a
take
bitch
my
earned
spot.
it.
But I'm just so lazy in my old age. I go to the Dobley IMAX and with the reclining seats, and I put my feet up, and I can go 20 minutes late, so I don't have to watch all the. Although sometimes I do like the trailers.
That
but-
was, thank God there was actually that many
How
previews
bad
this time
was
because I was
that?
late.
How
It was
bad was the
bad.
amount of trailers? Because man,
I
when
didn't see them because I
saw-
wasn't there, but
when I
There
saw
was so many.
not Thunderbolts a few weeks ago, and even when I saw Dogman with my children, both movies had 20 minutes plus of previews and ads each.
there's quite a
Yep.
few seats sold for Mission Impossible. Not as many as Lilo and Stitch, though.
I think
Um,
I think Mission Impossible 3-day weekend, I think it's gonna be somewhere between 70 and 80, and then maybe 80, 85.
it's got
for
a
the
lot
full-
less showings too. That's the other problem.
Yeah, it does that because it's a much longer
Ooh,
movie.
and the
Full
next, see,
film
because
time.
the big screen in Madison, they only got 5 seats sold for the next showing
Mhm.
because the movie's so fucking long. The next showing's not till 10:10.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, Mission Impossible, what, like almost, was it 2.5
And
hours?
I can't look at the one
plus?
that's already going on. Yeah, it's 2 hours, almost 3 hours long.
Almost
I'm
3
gonna
hours.
take a
Yeah.
look and see how my suburban town is doing with Mission Impossible. See where it's at, because now you got me all curious, Tom.
Uh-oh.
Let's
the
see.
And
preview
Tom
screenings
Cruise
went
is
full.
Tom Cruise has been doing a great job of promoting. Like that's what you want to
he's
see
been
in a
doing excellent.
Hollywood star versus like a Pedro Pascal. So
Well, everybody's trying to
yeah.
say that there might be a Stitchin' Impossible going on this weekend, and I'm just like,
I don't see it because with Barbie and Oppenheimer, that's the adults could both be invested into, and whereas the kids are not going to care about Lilo and Stitch.
And
I'm
you're not
sorry,
gonna be able
kids
to-
are not going to care about Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
And you're not
yeah.
going to be
I'm
able to get them,
gonna
and they're going to want to see the movie, but I have a hard time believing you're going to get them to sit there twice in a row with that many previews and crap in between to watch the same movie so you can sit in Mission Impossible.
Okay, so I'm
Once.
looking right now. I've looked at
You know what I
3
mean?
screenings for Mission Impossible, and my 6:15 Friday night. My town of about 30,000 people. It's around like 80% full. Actually, I checked the 4:15.
Yeah, the one
50%
standard showing
full.
for 7 whatever coming up here looks pretty good, but it's not full.
And then 8:00 p.m. looks actually really good as well over here as well. It's looking around 80%. Actually, maybe like 90%. So it's kind of. I think this one will do fine. I think it's gonna do fine, but it's obviously it's not gonna do Lilo and Stitch, which is fine. It was never going to do that anyway, even if it was still under, let's just say, better goodwill of box office performance. I mean, Lilo and Stitch is being a juggernaut. It's straight up a juggernaut of a movie. It just wasn't going to happen. It's a brave move to compete against it that same weekend. That's for sure. Because, it's one of those things where the parents, they should have thought about the parents could go see this movie and then kids see Lilo and Stitch the other weekend, whichever order you want to put that in. But I don't know what Paramount was thinking. And I get Tom Cruise likes to have his movies out in the holidays. But I guess Disney felt like otherwise with it too, and no one wanted to budge.
He should have saved it for like the first week in June.
Yeah. It's kind of early, I think.
Or the
know,
week before
up
4th of July.
Yeah, up this way, all our Connecticut, we're all in school till June 17th.
School's out over here. They just
That's what I
wow.
mean. Yeah,
they
depending
finish
on
school
where
out here
you're at.
tomorrow.
A lot.
Yeah.
Some schools like to get the kids out before Memorial Day. Some schools go a week or two after Memorial Day. It all.
We
just
have a
depends.
million freaking holidays in our school system
Yeah.
too. It's like they barely go like 1 week straight. It's because you got
That becomes a
every
well,
religion's holiday, teachers' days off. It's like,
see, even though we have snow days here, like, yeah, we start before Labor Day, like the week before, so the kids can get out before Memorial Day, even if they have snow days. Right, like that's their whole thing. They like to have them out before Memorial Day, I guess, up here. But yeah,
a friend who was living up here, the poor kid, they moved to Georgia, and he got out of when he moved down there, he got like out of like 2 weeks of summer, and then they started school, like you said, like 3 weeks early down there, so he had like
yeah.
no summer vacation that year.
Oh, I got screwed one year because I when I lived in Wisconsin initially, we moved to Minnesota for a very short period of time. Because for those, Nick might recognize the name, but for those who don't know around here, we have an actual, like, Quick Trip is I know it's known throughout the world or out the United States, because there are all sorts of different Quick Trips. But this is a specific one spelled KWIK Trip. And they're like a 3-state wide chain. And the only difference is in Iowa, they're called Quick Star, because another company already owned the name Quick Trip over in Iowa. So Nick's probably heard of them, because I think there's even some in Illinois. And
oh, I love Quick Trip, man. Everything. I think there's maybe some at the borderline. No, I've never gone on my way to look it up on the listing, but I think I've seen one at the borderline of Illinois, and that's I think, for all I know, that could be Wisconsin. But I love Quick Trip. When I was on my way to Milwaukee last Friday night, I made sure to stop at Quick Trip the way there on the way back. I love Quick Trip.
yeah, they do make pizza, as we said in the class.
I love the donuts are good at Quick Trip. Would highly recommend the donuts. Seriously, I was like shocked, like, wow, these donuts are kick ass, and they got cool flavors for them too. Oh man, I love Quick Trip. Cool place, killer place. I could use more Quick Trip in my life.
Yeah, we don't have anything good up in Connecticut, New York, like rest stop wise.
You don't got Wawa there?
We don't have Wawa. No Wawas. It's horrible.
Oh.
Yeah, no sheets. It's a rough world up here. But we do have clam pizza, so that's good.
You got pizza, so it kind of works.
We got the great New Haven pizza, yeah. So we got good pizza, but we don't have those great, really cool rest stops, or like a Buc-ee's or something, or Wawa. It's a bummer, yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, so yeah, my dad worked for the company Quick Trip, and because they closed another company that he worked for down here, and so we moved to Minnesota. So I ended up moving up there near the end of the school year, and they ended up going until like June. God, what was it? June 10th, I think it was. So I was used to getting out by Memorial Day. So I ended up going an extra almost 2 weeks of school, or it wasn't like 2 weeks of school. And then and then in the interim, we ended up moving back. So I ended up going to school early again. So I was like,
you got screwed.
Motherfucker.
I was like my buddy's son. Yeah,
exactly
so
like
mad.
that. I was so mad because I felt like I had no summer vacation at all.
Yeah.
It was funny is because that all happened between 89 and 90. It was just crazy. But anyhow, Keto Simple says, will How to Train Your Dragon beat Lilo and Stitch? No, I don't think so.
It'll have a good opening weekend, though.
Good opening,
I mean, there is general enthusiasm for Toothless. I have seen kids talk about it, and I mean, that first movie was obviously the biggest of the three, and I watched it recently with my kids. The first 1, 2, and 3, they do hold up well. So I think there's going to be some enthusiasm towards it for the kids. It just won't be Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch came off the fact that it was a multi-generational success, whereas How to Train Your Dragon is still fairly recent compared to Lilo and Stitch. So it's still it doesn't have that time to miss it. So it's not gonna be like this big thing. But I still think it might do like 100 million opening weekend. I think it'll still do like 100. Yeah.
When does that open? Next weekend, or
I think it's sometime in June.
Yeah, I think it's the second week of June or something like that. And I mean, and Lilo and Stitch is looking to have like $160 million opening weekend. It looks like.
Oh, okay. So right in line with my prediction. I was saying between 150 and 160.
And I'm trying to see, because tonight's that's just the tracking on it. Let me see.
And Snow White made $200 million worldwide. So
yeah,
Lilo and Stitch can make that back in one.
The original Lilo and Stitch did $273 million worldwide in 2002. How to Train Your Dragon.
When was How to Train Your Dragon out?
What was that?
That was
2009,
late.
2010 was the first one. How to Train Your Dragon. I think
2010
I
it
could
looks
be
like
off with
here.
that.
That one made a
That-
little bit more, but with inflation, it's
Yeah.
probably closer.
Stitch is definitely a more popular character, I think, and you've
That's
got
just it.
that
Yeah.
built-in
Just
audience.
crossed over
with
into
Disney.
generations. That's the thing. Whereas How to Train Your Dragon, we're still like closer in generation with those. Whereas you're talking a 23-year gap. That's crossed over more into different age groups. How to Train Your Dragon is not as broad. Now, the people who will be into it will still be very enthusiastic for it. It just won't be as many. So it'll probably hit around 100, which is still not a number to frown upon. It's just what Lilo and Stitch is doing is just very exceptional.
It could be
Plus you've got-
wrong.
What you say, Epic Universe? You've got, they're pushing How to Train Your Dragon. That's one of the lands there too.
That's what Keto is saying too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the only thing I was gonna say is the thing is Nick makes an excellent point, because with that coming out in 2010, that was like a movie that was never really on like my kids' radar. Like, and that's where I think that Mission Impossible is gonna suffer this weekend, is that a lot of the adults that they're expecting to bring in that 20 to 30 demographic, those are the kids that grew up with Lilo and Stitch and now have kids.
Yep.
Yeah,
So they're not going to give a
kids
shit
to
about
Lilo
seeing
and
Mission
Stitch.
Impossible. They're going to want to go see Lilo and Stitch with their kids, and they're not going to have the same emotional attachment to How You Train Your Dragon if they weren't in that age group, right?
Yep.
So
Good point.
even though then again we could be wrong, and it could, or and Keto could be more on point with, like, maybe it will line more up with Lilo and Stitch. The only other thing I see working against it is you have the race swap of the chick.
But that's not going to mean much to the grander audience. That's more of a
To the kids,
thing
not so much, but yeah.
to the general public. Even I still think it's going to do 100 mil. I really do think it's going to have a strong weekend. I think the enthusiasm around that is fairly big. It's going to be way bigger than obviously Snow Brown. It ain't even close. But it's gonna be at least in the 100 mil mark. I can say that with confidence.
I don't want to underestimate How to Train Your Dragon, but I don't see the same kind of buzz.
And that's
for
fine.
that.
Not every movie's gonna hit that type of buzz, and it's a lot more rare when those type of movies are hitting that particular extra buzz. So, and that's usually when that happens. It's now 1 to 2 movies in the last several years.
There's one other thing about How to Train Your Dragon that's different than Lilo and Stitch. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
So I'm just thinking about this because people have pointed it out. Remember, Lilo and Stitch was probably one of, if not one of the last 2D animated films besides the Frog Prince or whatever it was, the Frog Princess one by Disney.
Princess and
So
the
that's
Frog.
still
CGI. Yeah.
So
Princess
and
the
How to
Frog,
Train Your Dragon is all CGI, and I remember a lot of people saying, like, "What's the point? It just looks like 3D CGI cartoon."
That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah, this kind of makes sense to do live action because it was a 2D flat animation, right? So
Lilo and Stitch kind of adds a little bit more of a, like I said, a more reality, a more depth to it, to where, I mean, I've seen the trailer for How to Train Your Dragon. I didn't get the same kind of thing for that for Toothless as I did for Lilo and Stitch, because Stitch he's 2D in the original film. In the new film, they actually make him feel like he is there. I mean, yeah, you can tell it's CGI, don't get me wrong, but it's really pretty well done, really well rendered and really well realized CGI. And like I said, that kid sells it, right? Like, that's the big thing. She is basically Bob Hoskins from Who Framed Roger Rabbit in this movie.
That's great. That's good.
You know what I mean? She sells it 110%.
The kids love to have an imagination, so for her to use her imagination, imagine a hyper alien is there with her basically as her dog, quotation mark, probably was a hand in glove fit for her. She's like, "Oh yeah, I can imagine."
No, she believes it wholeheartedly. Like, you can tell.
I buy her, I buy her buying that, so that lines up, that checks out.
Yeah, no, I mean, and like I said, it was going to be make or break on that, really, in my opinion. Because if you can't believe that this kid is interacting with this alien for 90 minutes, then this movie was never going to work.
Right.
So,
and that's got to be tough to do. I mean, I can,
for a kid, it might be easier than an adult, I would think. But maybe
for a kid, that's easy. Kids,
well, I get, yeah.
Some kids think that they're rabbits, and they'll.
It's probably harder to keep her focused on the scene than it is when she's like, "Okay, here's Stitch," And they probably
they
had
prob-
something
they
like
have a,
this
they
to
have
say.
that, yeah.
And then when they take it out, though, she's got to pretend that it's still there, because that's what Bob Hoskins had to do too. To give him his eye line, they'd say, okay, here's where Roger is. And they had a big 4-foot Roger because he was 4 foot with the ears. And they would set him wherever he was going to be set. And so Eddie would or Bob would kind of know where he was looking. And because that's the thing Bob said too, was the hardest part is mostly, and he's 100% right. It's in a making of somewhere where he says, the problem is most actors don't understand. They're looking in the right direction, but they're looking past the character.
Mhm.
So you get that kind of weird dead stare from the actor going to the character. He's just like, you got to focus on nothing right here. And he goes, and you do that for a few hours and you start, your eyes just go buggy and you start to lose it. And there's like, there's this whole thing about with Bob Hoskins kind of going through like a little bit of a breakdown after Roger Rabbit.
Well, didn't Jessica Rabbit help him get him out of his funk? But
probably, I'm sure. Yeah, but no, like, you know, because he said, and it made it worse is you had, you know, the guy doing Roger, Charles Fleischer, on the set doing the voice. So he's like, you know, I got the voice in my head all day long, but I'm looking at dead space. So you start hearing voices before too long too, he said.
Well, like when Ahmed Best, when they did Jar Jar, they were showing the behind the scenes, and he wore like this silly getup with, you know, with the like a puppet on his head, basically like where the eyes would be to help the actors out. Was Mary Poppins the first time they put animated in
no,
live
that's
action?
actually been something that was, I think, the first time in a major film other than Anchors Away, I think, with Jerry and what's his face dancing together.
Yeah,
but no, it's
Tom
actually
said Ben and Jerry's Tom and
Jerry.
from
Tom and Jerry. Yeah, it's actually been a part of blending live action and animation has been a part of the game since some of the earliest animated shorts. It's something they've always tried to do. Like the clown, I can't remember his name. That guy always used to interact with his artist all the time. And then they had the Avengers of Alice in Wonderland, which was an earlier thing that Disney worked on, which was live action mixed with animation, actually. So no, actually, it's funny that
it's been done. Okay,
it's been done, but Mary Poppins was, I think, the longest sequence at that point, and then you had like Pete's Dragon and a couple other things here and there that between that and Roger Rabbit. But Roger Rabbit was the first time where the entire film you had animated characters in the real world the whole time.
Yeah,
and you had a real character go into the animated world also. On top of it.
We're getting that with Tron now. We're getting Tron.
I mean, Tron was actually made similar. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because a lot of what they did for Tron was very similar to Roger Rabbit at the end of the day.
Wow,
but yeah, a lot of
we're getting that new Tron movie. That was a cool preview.
They don't even make that the same way now, but like because most people like that was the funny thing is Tron got disqualified, and you probably remember this for an Oscar because they're like, oh, they did it with computers, they're cheating.
Cheating, yeah.
Most people don't realize that's vector animation and shit like that. Most of it isn't even actually done with quote unquote computers so much as it's just traditional animation, but it's just it's done in a different way in certain aspects. In some cases, it is just flat out animation.
Yeah,
they just made it look like it was done on a computer.
That was phenomenal to see that movie when it first came out. God,
yeah. But they came so far because they couldn't even technically have the actors in color with the way they were doing the technique because of the screens, and because it was it would just mess up you would have too much see through. So like they're trying all sorts of new techniques, and a lot of that stuff led into Roger Rabbit is kind of where it picked up from there. You know, there was a few other movies in between, but like that changed the game completely. But then it was funny because as soon as Roger Rabbit was made, computers were right around the corner and made all the work they just did obsolete, basically. But yeah, Lost for Words has been a member for 39 months. Thank you for that, Lost for Words. Go141 says, at least you had summers. Mine were work and work. Oh, well, mine were too, especially living close to a resort town. There's always work to be had or found. I was working since I was like 12 years old. I actually lied and said I was 13 when I was 12 just so I could work for cash under the table shit, you know. Because you couldn't even get a work.
Well, Tom paid all his taxes. If anyone's listening,
nah, that's long enough ago. Fuck the government. They want the whole $3. They can come get it. Because like, yeah, you couldn't even get a worker.
No taxes on tips now. I think, right?
Yeah, well, got to go through Congress yet. But,
Congress, yeah.
Because yeah, like when I was a kid, I think you had to get you couldn't even get a work permit until you were like I think 15 or whatever it was, or 14 at least. I think maybe 13, but I'm pretty sure you had to be older than that. Camelbot Killer says, How to Train Your Dragon will do well, as there are many sequels that did well. This live action is better than any other Disney live action behind Lilo. I say 150 million. Yeah, it's probably better than all the other ones. I still see some issues with it, and I wonder how well it's gonna fare. But
How's the word of mouth going to be? Because that's what always makes. Look how well Sinners has been doing on word of mouth. Do you
Shit.
think? Do you think
Lilo
this
and
is going to
Stitch
get good word of mouth?
Oh, you
Yeah.
know it's gonna be. Come on, don't
gonna
try
kill,
to kid
right?
yourself. It's gonna dominate and obliterate. This might be one of the movies, if not the movie to beat this year.
You think it'll beat
Yeah.
Minecraft? Okay, interesting. Yep.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be.
It
think
has a
it's still
shot.
got more.
Put it that way. I'm not gonna
Stitch
say
has
that it
6
will.
legs. Okay, so
Yeah,
and
I'm
plus
not gonna
that
say it will,
multi-generational.
but it will definitely have a shot. I don't want to like get cocky, but it's gonna have a shot. And
Well,
it
Nick,
might
you have a good
eclipse it.
point.
It might eclipse it.
And you have a good point too with the parents that grew up watching this are going to want to take their kids to see it, right? Because this came out around 2000. So yeah, if you got kids or you remember this movie, yeah. So you've got that crossover from both generations wanting to see it. So that can be a real
I'm not saying
boost
how
to the box office.
Yeah, Detail Double says How to Train Your Dragon looks 1-for-1. Race swap backstory. Ahmed Gossip her shipwrecked black peepaw. Astrid works to prove self. Real Viking overcame skeptics with sheer grit.
Are they going to explain Astrid the race swap? They're just going to ignore it and just say that's her, or are they going to actually try to?
I don't think they're
Explain?
explaining that. They're
Just going to leave it.
They're not expecting anyone to explain that. They're expecting it as a kids movie, and they're probably not expecting kids to point out. So
I think
we'll
that
point it out,
that
but
controversy has kind of died down. I think for the most part, but
I think it depends on what the property is. For a property like that, it doesn't seem like it was going to really ever have much legs anywhere to begin with. Unlike, let's just say, the Silver Surfette, that was never going to die down, and it still hasn't died down. So I think it's going to be a case by case scenario. Some properties it'll probably blow over, and then some, like Surfette, once again, we're going to keep mentioning it till the end of damn time.
yeah, especially if the movie sucks too. That's going to be.
I will never forget it.
Which one are you
Movies
talking
somehow
about,
good.
Kalekioki? Dragon or Lilo and Stitch? Because I think
he's
Lilo
probably
and
talking about
Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch because that's
I don't know
actually
about.
out.
I don't what really. I haven't heard any too many bad reviews about it, but I haven't checked into like the ones in our
Well,
community.
he didn't say it was bad. He just said it wasn't as good. And I could see Soul and saying
I said the
that.
same thing, but like, I mean, we're talking a matter of just like a point or two at best, is what I was saying. But yeah, let's see what the Rotten Tomatoes says on it.
Yeah.
Unless he's talking about the other one.
We also have to remember too, like as far as like Midnight's Edge, and this is a very unique corner of the webs, very unique, and it's probably my favorite corner because we see things a bit differently. But we also got to remember, because of what we see, it's not always the general demographic of the land per se. So we have a very unique.
The consensus is recapturing the adorable charm of the original, if not quite matching its rambunctious sense of imagination. Lilo and Stitch emerges out of the crate as one of the better live-action remakes of a Disney classic. Yeah, that's basically my review. Yeah.
I hope they paid you for that, Tom.
I know, right? It lost some of the rough edges of the original, which made it interesting, but it's not bad, as one of the critics. I don't know about that. The two humans leads don't have nearly enough charm to make up for the deficiencies around them. That's a bad review, but which leaves the entire movie essentially in Stitch's claws. Yet even this demented toddler on 3 espressos energy isn't funny. Let's see here. Yeah, some people are just claiming they didn't like Michael Phillips of Chicago Tribune, and Kyle Smith didn't like it.
If it follows the story that closely, how could you not like? I mean, I guess you wouldn't like the original then too, right? It sounds like it.
That's what I was wondering.
Deviate that far, right? I mean, so
see, like this one says, brimming with heart and emotional, resonant themes. Lilo and Stitch is an excellent example of reimagining a beloved story and honoring what made it so special.
If I had to take a very best guess on this, as far as doesn't sound like they're mixed opinions. They really just sound like there are people who mostly like it, but not as much as the original. I think it depends on what you're looking for out of this particular not so live version. Are you looking for a 1-to-1 ratio? Are you looking for a slight detour? I think that's going to be judged on a very individual scenario.
Mm-hmm. And then Action Com says, remember when Sarah Silverman forced Disney to create an animated short featuring Disney princesses? Vaguely.
I don't remember that one. She kind of guilted them into that, or what?
I kind of vaguely
remember.
Well, that was for the movie, the Wreck-It Ralph movie, wasn't it? Or something like that. Well, she's hanging out with all the princesses in that anyway. And she's doing the voice of the one character. Unless you're talking about something completely different. Then I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not remembering that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I thought it was, unless he's talking about something outside of Wreck-It Ralph too. Yeah. Yeah, oh, Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah. Okay. That's what he's talking about. Yeah. I don't know if she necessarily guilted them into that, or was that just part of the story to begin with? Camelbot Killer says, How to Train Your Dragon trailer seems to be the animated movie comes to life. As far as I know, the race swapped Astrid is the only negative part. Is there anything else? Well, like I said, it's the original one was already 3D animated, so I've heard some people say that it's kind of pointless. Like I haven't heard anybody say that about Lilo and Stitch, is my point. But we'll see. They may go neck and neck. If not, we'll have to see how well the other fares against the other. Go on for one. No sends in 50 Mexican dollars. Says how much of the original charm it salvages 2D animation is way more expressive than 3D. 3D is tethered to the rules of space, while 2D can stretch more. Yeah, totally. And I mean that's probably the little bit where I haven't seen one of the reviews had mentioned that it just didn't quite have the same bite as the 2D animation version. But like, yeah, you can only do so much.
But are the kids going to see it that way? The kids are not. The kids are looking at it for the mania of Stitch and his relationship with Lilo. And remember, this movie, we're the adults are going to see it because they grew up on the original. But a lot of kids are in this to just see how crazy that friendship is between the little Hawaiian girl and her alien buddy.
Yeah, they're gonna go. You're right, Nick. Yeah, they're gonna go nuts.
Yeah,
just to see that character come to life if they've seen the 2D. Because I guess the kids growing up they're so used to CGI. But I remember seeing some of those first seeing the Incredibles. It was like, oh wow, this is so amazing to see this type of animation. And then say if you did the Incredibles live action, but had CGI elements, it'd be pretty. And just call it the Fantastic Four, then we'd be all set.
Yeah. No, I like Goal 141's. I like where he's coming from with that super chat because I don't disagree. He's right. I 100% on board that it's just one of those things that once again that's a unique thought that comes more so from our side of the interwebs. Like I was thinking about that when I was watching the original last night because I thought the 2D animation on it aged amazingly. I was like so shocked with how amazing it still looks to watch. Like it still looks like a freaking brand new movie. Like the only thing that you could say would probably be of its time is maybe some of the things that they use. Like they had that toy camera where you flip the thing around, and other than that, yeah, you could say stuff like that. But I forgot that Lilo actually had a vinyl of Elvis. And I got to bring out to my child. Oh, that's vinyl. That's a format of music. Instead of like Spotify from your phone or from the car, it's an actual record. And because she actually knows, they actually know my children. They do know what Blu-ray and 4K are because I've had to explain to them what that is. They now know what vinyl is and they understand now. Oh, okay, so that's where it comes from. Because now, if you have to ask their friends can tell you what vinyl or Blu-ray or 4K that they have no clue at all. Zero, zilch. But my kids can at least say they know exactly what those are and what they do. So, no, it was cool to educate her on that. So,
yeah, no idea what. Use this rotary phone now. Let me know how it works. Yep.
Speaking of rotary phone, I actually saw one at my hotel when I was in Milwaukee in the hallway. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna call my room. That's why I called my own hotel room.
You wanted to use the rotary phone, see if you can make it work. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, crud, it actually does work. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, holy crap, this phone actually works. They didn't just have it out here for show, but it actually works. And I dialed. I dialed with a landline. Mark, for the first time in like 15 years, I think was the last time I used a landline. From, that was not a
We still have
workplace.
one, but it's just for grandma to call.
So we got
Nice.
another super chat here to take us out. ActionCom sends in 5 and says, I hear Alicia Silverstone is coming back. Pretty thing. Well, I'm looking up here. She actually hasn't gone anywhere, really, it looks like. I mean, this is kind of like, I guess, a major film, I suppose, if you want to call it that. But otherwise, she's continued to act. She was even in the
working.
Y2K movie more recently.
Y2K movie? Oh, yeah, that trash.
Her career
Yeah.
peaked with Batgirl.
I mean, she's done quite a bit of work over the years. But yeah, this is, I guess, her first starring role, I guess you would call it, in a long time, probably. Because, yeah, she looks like she's worked pretty consistently. So, oh yeah, I forgot she was in Tropic Thunder.
She was?
Yeah.
What was she in Tropic Thunder?
She just played herself at the awards ceremony.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's, yeah,
Tom
she kind of
Cruise's
peaked
best role.
between some of her bigger roles, like with Clueless and Batman and Robin and Blast from the Past, and then she kind of fell off here. I mean, she did a few, and then she was like one of the supporting characters in Scooby-Doo 2 and stuff like that, and then she kind of just fell into television. It looks more so, or just random stuff here. It looked like she probably plays like the mom or a teacher or something in a lot of movies, it looks like, probably. Like in this one, in Valley Girl, she does older Julie, uncredited. Stuff like that. So, yeah, well, good for her. Good for her.
Yeah.
Good to see
Good
her
stuff.
working again. And with that, I think we're going to round out. And we got one more from Camelbot Killer, who said, "Did Universal release live action for the new How to Train Your Dragon attraction at Universal Orlando? Great marketing, isn't it? Get people excited for the park." Yeah, I get it. You guys are excited for How to Train Your Dragon. Good for you. I mean, I just don't see the buzz for it. You guys are the first time I've really heard anybody talk too much about it since we've had the whole controversy with the race swap thing. That's the last time I remember bringing it up.
Yeah.
And that's been how long ago?
Mm-hmm.
When we
It was
learned
a
about
while
that?
back.
Yeah.
It's gonna do well. At least opening weekend. Long term, that's a who knows. But you watch that opening weekend. It's gonna do that 100 mil, and then hopefully there will be enthusiasm when it comes out. Hopefully we shall see on that part. But I have a feeling it seems like they didn't really fiddle with the movie too much, judging by the previews I've seen. My oldest wants to see it too, so I'm sure we'll be seeing it right when it comes out.
They have gotten some buzz with the Epic Universe opening too for How to Save Your Dragon, so I think it'll be it'll help a little bit. You get some crossover appeal, and I think they're really going to push that too. In terms of marketing. So we'll see. It'll be interesting, but I think kids movies are going to rule the year again, right? So you got Minecraft and Lilo and Stitch and How to Save Your Dragon, right? Probably.
It's not a bad thing to do if you want to get kids into the idea of going to a movie theater. I think that's a great way to go. Granted, they could use a few more original ideas, but outside of that outlier, like, it is a good way to get kids to say, "Hey, let's go to the movies." So by the time they become teenagers, hey, what's playing at the theater? So if you get them in the habit now and have these type of movies, hey, no, not my type of thing. I'm not like, I had no investment in Minecraft, but just because I'm not invested in Minecraft didn't mean it wasn't lost on me the enthusiasm towards that movie. I knew that movie was going to do well. I knew Lilo and Stitch was going to do gangbusters. And I have a feeling How to Train Your Dragon is going to do pretty well at the very least opening weekend, because there's still a whole world out there of kids out there, and those kids are wanting to see movies, and that's good, because I want kids to see movies. That means they want to just sit down and watch YouTube shorts, and Instagram Reels and TikTok, whatever they're calling TikTok. You get my point. I want them to, like, if they can embrace the shorts, I want them to embrace cinema as well.
Yeah, you don't want movies to die. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
Trump was talking about that tariff, but Hollywood is not in good shape right now, and video games make more money overall too. So that's why, you know, Minecraft tying in video games to Hollywood is, you know, it's a good idea. But they're in big trouble right now in terms of you know, domestic movie production. That's something we don't want to lose, and you don't want to. There's nothing. I mean, as good as like my home theater is, and I've got a, you know, a decent size screen, you can never compete with going to a movie theater, especially these IMAX theaters or the Dobley digital one that I like to go to with the reclining seats. And you know, you're in the dark, and like, I'm at home and I'm watching, like, I have the computer next to my wife's like, get off the damn computer and watch the movie. You know, like, I'm on Twitter trying to read everything. You know, you're just in that movie, just enjoying that moment. Hopefully, there are no other yahoos on cell phones or you know, kids throwing popcorn at Minecraft. All right, yeah, maybe it shouldn't make a mess, but that's kind of fun. You know, that's fun. That's getting into the movie. But you really go to another spot when you're in that movie theater. You just can't replicate that at home. You know, just doesn't. And seeing it with other people with the crowd reaction too. I mean, I remember seeing Temple of Doom opening night, and man, everyone was going freaking nuts. It was one of the most fun nights at a movie theater because you were just cheering. It was like you're like at a sports event, and your team had just won the Super Bowl. You know, everyone was so hyped to see that movie on opening night. So yeah, I hope. Yeah, I agree, Nick. I hope this gets more people to movies. And yeah, Disney's sucked lately, but you know, you got to give them credit if they do a good job on a movie, and maybe they'll learn from this and change course, course correct some of the Marvel movies. But well,
Yeah. And what the fuck sends in a message here to say, so all the YouTubers say saw Lilo and Stitch, but not Mission Impossible. Rest in peace. I can't speak for anybody else. Like, I just went and got back because it just so happened that the showtime lined up good enough. And I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't have any desire to go see the latest Mission Impossible because I didn't like the last one.
Yeah,
And
you've
another
always
reason
been
is I'm
very
not going to sit
vocal on that.
and I'm not going to sit in the theater for 3 fucking hours. It's just not going to happen. No way. My bladder will be like, fuck you. And this was fine. This was basically, I'm looking at the math here without the credits. This movie's like 95 minutes.
perfect. Yeah.
Because I messaged Andre, I got out of the theater at 4:36. The show originally started at 2:30. The previews went till 2:50. So that means from 2:50 to 4:36. That's barely like over 90 some minutes, right? And I didn't sit through
Yeah,
all
movies
the
are
credits.
too long today.
With the so you're saying the movie's got like 15 minutes of credits?
10 at least, probably.
So then if it's probably like around an hour.
Because, well,
hour
and I stayed
30,
through the
hour
first
and
part of the
35.
credits, and then I got out and messaged him. So that's like, you know, add on another couple minutes. So even at that point, like, yeah. So, I mean, the movie itself is, as soon as you can fresh get out of there, it's like 90 some minutes tops, maybe.
Because I saw the running time was, granted, IMDb could be wrong, but it showed us around an hour and 50. And I know they don't add in previews for that. That's just the movie.
Yeah, it says an hour and 48 minutes. But I asked when I rolled up, because I rolled up late. I'm like, has the show started yet? And she's like, no. She's like, they're still in previews. I'm like, well, how much longer is there? Because if there's longer, I'll buy some popcorn. And I knew they'd tell me then.
Oh, then they told you. Oh, then they told you it was going to start. Yeah.
So they said, oh, the show doesn't actually start till 2:50.
There
So
you
I
go.
knew that. So
There you go.
I didn't actually have my watch on me. So I'm going off the point of, she told me at the concession stand that the movie actually starts at 2:50, not 2:30. So they had 20 minutes of previews.
Yep.
Wow.
And so
Well,
you add
Connecticut-
that. Yeah.
Well,
go
it's like, Connecticut, they actually had a law. They've been trying to pass this for years, where they publish like the actual movie time, but we all just know, like,
They
add
lost
20
that
minutes.
case, yeah.
Yeah, they lost. Yeah, like, tell them when the actual, they were trying it again this year, and didn't make it through committee. But yeah, everyone was commenting like, yeah, we just know there's 20 minutes of previews, and now with your seats assigned, it really doesn't matter, right? Because if you got an assigned seat, then you just I show up at the you know, say the movie's at 3, I show up at 3:15, get my popcorn, and drop in my Reese's Pieces into that popcorn bucket, and then I'm ready to
Yeah.
go by 3:20.
You can pretty much figure 15, 20 minutes unless it's a special preview. That I've learned that sometimes they don't always show. It's a crapshoot, right? Because I like went to the Godzilla preview or whatever and special showing, and it didn't have any fucking
Oh,
previews
special
whatsoever.
showing.
Yeah,
Wow.
none whatsoever. And then other preview showings have had either none till very little, or they've had the whole shebang, or they'll have something special ahead of time, so you might not want to miss it. So, like, yeah, that's what I've learned. So if you're going to just a standard showing, you could probably just figure you could get there 15 minutes late, and you're fine.
One of these days I'm gonna get screwed, I'm sure, but yeah.
I have a couple times, but like I said, it's generally been those special screenings where I think there's going to be a bunch of previews, and then I've learned now not to dawdle with the special preview screenings.
I missed the beginning of Ghostbusters Afterlife. I didn't see Egon getting killed in the
Well,
beginning.
that sucks.
That really screwed the whole movie for me until people were telling me after, because I got stuck on the throughway. There was a traffic jam. I'm like,
Yeah.
like talk about like 5 minutes you don't want to miss. You know?
Well, and I walked into the wrong theater at first, so I thought that it had started. I'm like, Jesus Christ, they jump into him at Earth already. Because I come in and it's the part where he gets hit by the truck. And I'm like, shit, this should be like 15 minutes into the movie or 10 minutes at least. Damn. Like,
Wrong
what the fuck?
theater,
They
yeah.
told me it wasn't going to start yet. And then I realized, oh, this isn't the 3D showing anyway. So I was like, and I went off. It was the one across the hall directly.
How was the 3D? It looked okay? Or, a little dark?
It
dark,
doesn't need it. It's
Doesn't
not
need
one
it.
that I'm going to cry if they don't do a 3D Blu-ray.
Yeah.
There was
The
nothing that
IMAX
special.
3D always looked really good when I used to go to the IMAX.
Yeah,
They had 3D. That was
but I
much
mean,
brighter.
But I mean, I wouldn't like say like, oh, you got to go see this in 3D or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Joe Pat sends in $1.99, says, save your kids' attention span, take them to the movies. Joe Pat 87 says, don't let cinema seem as laborious as reading. Well, that's what's the problem with a 3-hour movie. Joe Pat 87 says, reading is underrated as well. We need literature. Yes, we do. Soul Nightmare sends in two and says, is the Iger and Feige discourse a topic tomorrow? Did they have some discourse? This is the first I'm hearing about it, Soul Nightmare, so maybe it will be. Action Com says, the most beautiful movie theater you were in. Oh, good question. There was an old school theater. God, this is a tough one because I've been in some really nice old school theaters where I'm from. See, I like,
Yep.
you know, where I live, they even have like a world famous theater, the Ringling one in Baraboo. Which I'm trying to, have I been in there or not? I think I was once, a long time ago. So I think that might have been where I saw Roger Rabbit. Because I remember it was really big and really fancy. And I was younger though, so I'm kind of trying to remember.
And the theaters used to be much bigger back in the day
Yeah,
too,
oh,
before
God,
you had all
yes.
the multiplexes. And when I saw Wrath of
Yeah.
Khan, the world premiere for that, it was a massive movie theater, and then they chopped it up into like 3 separate movie theaters.
That.
I was like, God. Where my son went to college at Trinity College, they had the Sign Studio, which is a beautiful old movie theater, and they show, old movies, new movies, and like I was looking it up, and like, Charlie, they're showing Apocalypse Now this week, and you have to go see it, on the big screen. And he didn't go see it; he was a bum. But
I mean, I did see Attack of the Clones at the Orpheum, which isn't actually a theater; it's a auditorium or whatever. But
that's cool, yeah.
In Madison, but like, yeah. Otherwise, Reedsburg, this town near where I'm from, had this old school theater that even had like the old school Dolby surround sound thing up still and everything. It's nice, like what you would call a movie palace. Like that's what they used to be kind of called. And you felt like you were walking into like this
a theater, right? Yeah, like
a huge place. And yeah, Nick, what about you? I gotta imagine being near Chicago. You guys got to have a few fancy theaters down there.
There's a really cool traditional theater that I went to a few years ago. Actually, it was right around when Logan came out. It was a really old school theater in Rogers Park. I can't remember the name of it. It was in Rogers Park of Chicago. I mean, I feel like now you mention it, I gotta look it up or at least try it. But it was an awesome theater. The tickets were only like $5-6. There's a cool classic cinemas out in Woodstock. it's really deceptive because it looks tiny from the outside, but their big auditorium from the inside looks astoundingly gorgeous. And the tickets are always cheaper at classic cinemas. Like I saw a Working Man opening night there. I think I spent $7.50 a ticket. That's like what 2008 prices. Freaking
Nice.
awesome. And there's, I mean, I don't know where everyone chats know their regions are, but there's, I think I'm in within my 100-mile vicinity. I think I'm by 2 or 3 classic cinemas. But if you guys can get to one, like especially if you want to save money, like classic cinema is definitely a good way to go. A really good way to go. Well, those would probably be the first 2 that come to mind. You know, I've heard people talk about Navy Pier. Kind of overrated, really. It's like, yeah, the outside of it's cool and the layout is cool, but that's about it. There's nothing that really stands out. Like, I'd like to go to that one theater where it's like the screen, I think it's in California, where the screen wraps around like almost the entire room. Was it in California? I know Quentin Tarantino talks about. That's a
The
theater
Cinerama
I
Dome?
want. Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
check
that's
out
the one.
that one. That one sounds damn cool.
Yeah. Well, every time you hear the word Rama added to anything, that's where it came from. Was the Cinerama.
Oh, there we go.
That was like the gimmick, was to add Rama to everything. It meant big. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
It was like the
Yeah.
IMAX of its time, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, there was an IMAX in Norwalk at the Maritime Center, full, like the real IMAX, not these like, you know, half-size
Yeah, there's not
IMAXs.
very many of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got to see Rogue One there. You go to remember going to see the Rogue One there. I got some cool popcorn buckets with my nephew, and God, that was great. Yeah, because the movie's like 50 feet tall. You know, so you'd go and they tore it. Bastard just tore it down.
Oh man.
But there's an Avon Theater in Stamford that they're redoing, and they also show old school movies. And that's more like it's more like a you know, an old school, you know, theater with the curtains that come out. Yeah, like you just feel like you're, you know, time traveling when you go to see a place. It's just like a nice fancy movie there. And they also have actors will come there and talk. You know, back in the day, Gene Wilder was alive. They you know, he would talk about you know, they would do a night, you know, where they'd show like Blazing Saddles, and he'd be there because he lived in Stamford, and they would talk about it. So that was pretty wild. But yeah, it's just it's like a special experience. Then yeah, when you go see it in a movie theater, like you walk in, you're like, oh wow, this is really cool. So versus those you know, just the crappy, like narrow little, some of the movie theaters you go to today, were like the ones that didn't split up. You're like, my screen is almost bigger at home. What's going on here? You know?
No shit. That's my problem usually. Especially like, yeah, one that really broke my heart is the one that's in the town where I live now. Because when I was a kid, this is where I saw Ninja Turtles 2. Second one.
There you go.
And it was this big, grand, old school theater at that time. It would have been one of the ones I probably would have put on this list. It would have been like 5th or 6th on the list, but it still was that nice. And now what they've done is they literally put a fucking wall down the middle.
Down the
And
middle.
they didn't even move the seats. So like the best seats in the house, there is none. Because it's so narrow,
the wrong way. Yeah.
They have just the middle of the walkway is the only place to go. So you're walking down the middle where the screen is, and the screen has been cut so small and short that I wouldn't be surprised if my TV here at home isn't much smaller than what the size of their actual picture is. And that's where I saw, and I was pissed that I saw it there too, and I wish I hadn't, but it was so close and they were actually showing it, but Horizon, because they ended up cropping it off wrong, and that's another thing. So like the theater isn't even set up correctly now. But like back in the day when I was a kid, when I saw Ninja Turtles and stuff there, like it was a huge ass screen, right? Like, I mean, it was a huge theater, big auditorium type theater. Like, yeah, it's just a tragedy that they did that to it. It bothers me, but
yeah.
Anyhow,
sad. Yep.
Let's get this wrapped up because I got shit I got to edit, and we got a show maybe in a little bit. Nick, I know, does for sure. He'll probably show up on the Thursday Throwdown. Isn't that correct, Nick?
Yeah, I'll be around. You know, I'll be around for a bit. I mean, I'm sure they're going to want to talk the movies. If they get into spoiler territory, I have to slip out. But yeah, I'll always come out for a bit. Anyways, yeah, I'll have
spoilers.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise does an elaborate stunt and saves the day.
No way.
I hope so.
Well, a dude that farted clobbering times was would definitely not be seeing that movie.
No,
God,
he would definitely not
despised
be.
Tom Cruise. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Always. He was always, and I'll give him credit for that. He was always consistent on
Sisters,
that.
yeah. No
So,
exceptions. No exceptions.
nope,
No
no
Top Gun.
exceptions.
Nothing. Yep. Yep.
Club. But speaking of Klobby, tomorrow night, Klobby's Comic Shop will be going on. And speaking of Tom Cruise, next week, Toxic Tuesday, we'll be talking Top Gun Maverick. So be ready for some volleyball action like you've never seen before with the men. Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a good
Sounds
show.
good. Mark, you got something coming up besides Sunday night?
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to be playing Sea of Thieves in about an hour with my buddies, Mandalorian and Lisa. We plundering and pillaging on the high seas. Yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun to hang out. So if you want to arg, if you want to see us pillaging, come on by. And then also I do late night Fortnite Friday night, after Nick's comic book show is over. And I got a lot of work cleaning up the house because my much better half is coming back from her trip, so I better get the house in order. I'm
Sounds
gonna
like
be
it.
in big
You might
trouble.
wanna do
Yeah.
that, yeah. All right, kids. Well, thank you so much for being here, and do check out the campaign that we're running right now for Chris's book. In fact, why don't we play that again real quick instead of the we'll
From
go out
Mike
on that.
Barron and Steve
Yeah.
Rude. Yeah, that's Mike
Yeah.
Barron's story Nexus. That was one of his big creator runs. He's putting out in a collected omnibus edition. And it's got, I think, redone colors by the colors who also did the Invincible comic as well, Kelsey Shannon. So, and if anyone out there is looking for a good comic story that's not Marvel or DC, and you want a whole set, Nexus is the way to go. It really is the way to go. It's a fantastic storytelling, and you'll get a bit of older stories, some somewhat newer stories, and an all-around good time to be had by all.
Listen to Nick Schill. Well, with that, this is
Well,
going to take
I
us
know
out.
Nexus, so I feel like I can
Damn.
actually speak about it.
Nice. I like it.
Well, bye.